Hi, it's Wednesday, October 1st, and we're here in the garden. So some of the corn stalks are most dry enough that I'm comfortable taking them down. Got a couple good looking ones that we'll use for Halloween decorations, all the kind of ratty ones. I'm cutting up so they're more easy to compost. The tomatoes are on their very last legs. I think someday soon is going to be the day the plants get pulled and any unripe fruit just comes inside to ripen it inside. The peppers are still cranking pretty well. They tend to like temperatures a little warmer, so they're gonna give up soon. Peppers also, you can ripen them off the vine inside, which is handy. We harvested some of these beans yesterday and some of the lima beans from the fence, so I'll show you shucking those. Yeah, and as the kind of the plant dies over here, which is exactly what it's supposed to do, the number of birdhouse gourds we have is really pretty obvious. So I think the plan for these, we'll let the vine die totally, then put them in the garage over the winter, and hopefully they'll all be totally dried out in time for the spring. And then as a Cub Scout project, we can bring these for each of the scouts to paint as a birdhouse. So that's the game plan there. The camera is not even really doing a good job of like catching the vibrant color on these. They look almost like nuclear through the lens, but those are all, again, volunteers, so the same thing will happen this year, that the seed heads will mature and they'll fall in the dirt, and then we'll get more next year. We harvested some of the daikon radish. You can see them poking up from the ground. So there's quite a few in here, and we harvested some. We'll let the rest of them keep going. I think I was reading the point of including daikon radishes in a cover crop mix is soil aeration. It's like, oh, yeah, because when you pull them out, that's like this big, huge tube of material that has left. So the remaining soil does indeed get aerated because now there's a big, huge hole in it. This is today's harvest. I haven't weighed this yet, but prior to this, we were at 244 pounds. So some nice tomatoes. I have some more inside, and I want to show you how to save seeds from those in case anyone wants to do that. And a bunch of peppers to deal with. The poblanos I've mostly been slicing and freezing. The pimentos I've been pickling, and the banana peppers I've been pickling too. And this is the corn from the dried stalks. It's really sounds pretty dry. We'll take the kernels off and dry it out some more inside, and then do some test pops. I'm really close to buying some kind of agricultural grade moisture meter to try to figure out how to do this a little better, because we've got popcorn that we dried and it's too dry and it doesn't pop. And then we've slowly been trying to wet it and get it to pop a little more, and it's just kind of a pain in the butt. I would rather just monitor its progress as it dries and seal it up when it gets to the right percent moisture. So I don't know, that kind of doesn't make sense to justify a purchase like that for a popcorn project, but I've made dumber choices. All right, so this is the caterpillar habitat. Again, Chrysalis Watch 2024. This was a very popular place for the caterpillars to make their chrysalis. Someone really liked this spot and just made its chrysalis on some other chrysalis. Reminds me of trying to close that gently so I make sure I do not squash the chrysalis. Okay, that's shut. So I think I counted 7 in here earlier. There's 3 on the top, 4, 5. There's one right down here, 6. I thought there was 7, but okay, maybe there's just 6. So pretty good. The caterpillars got really nice and happy, and now as I don't see any caterpillars, so I think it's safe to say anyone who was going to make a chrysalis has already done it. And when I take the foliage out of here for the winter, I'll just do a good double check on it and make sure that we're not accidentally throwing out some of the chrysalis, and then we'll just put this enclosure up against the house all winter, and in the springtime we'll have some butterflies emerge. So I don't know if people are interested in this or care, but I was going to show you how to pickle some daikon radishes and how the beans get shucked. If that kind of stuff is something people are interested in seeing, that would be great to know. I feel terrible being like, oh, sound off in the comments, but I don't really understand how else to get that feedback. One of the other projects is dealing with all the tomatoes. So during the season, as I'm harvesting tomatoes, I just cut them up and put them in the freezer. And now there's, I don't know, there's probably like 4 2.5 gallon bags of tomatoes that are in the freezer waiting. And then I just deal with those all at once, because in previous years I would process them and make sauce like every weekend, which is a incredible waste of time to do that over and over again. Just save them in the freezer and make one gigantic batch of sauce and do it all at once. So if anyone wants to see that, let me know. All right, let's go inside and deal with the daikon. Go for it. Whoa! Holy cow. All right, this is the total daikon harvest, and now we're gonna peel it and chop it up. Once the daikon is all chopped up, we're going to do some water bath canning. The brine here is 6 cups of white vinegar and 2 cups of water, steeped with a couple of cloves of fresh garlic. The acid content of the solution is high enough to act as a preservative, so the daikon gets added to the pre-sterilized jar, and it's filled mostly to the top. And then you fill the rest with brine, so you have a 1/2 inch of head space, and use a little measuring tool to get that correct. the rim of the jar gets wiped, and you put a clean, warmed lid on the top of the jar, and then a canning ring on top of that, and you just screw it down. It doesn't have to be super duper tight because you do want some of the air to escape when the jar is getting processed. Then that goes back into the canner for 10 minutes. While the daikon is processing in the canner, we're going to shuck these beans. After the 10 minutes, I turn off the heat and set a timer for 5 minutes and let the jars cool in the canner for time. Alright, so after the beans are all shucked, give them one last dry. So spread them out. These are dehydrator trays, but not actually going to use the dehydrator. I made this contraption to just kind of hold these racks without actually having to use the dehydrator, because this isn't like a really time sensitive process. Just kind of let this passively happen. I guess that's about half. So I want them really nice and dry, and like this one, obviously that one's a lot wetter than some of these other ones. Right. And then it goes on top and rests on the little support thing. It doesn't matter if they're level. I just wanted space for air to circulate. This seems like it's more than half. Or maybe not. Okay. And then this goes on top. Doot, doot, doot. Can't see what I'm doing and film at the same time. Yeah, and then this whole thing, I just put it in the laundry room to dry on its own time. So after letting these sit overnight and cool down completely, these are done. Just do it like grab them by the top of the lid there, give them a little shake, make sure the lid doesn't fall off. This one didn't seal, so my move when that happens is just throw a reusable mason jar lid and chuck it in the fridge. I store these without the rings on because if there's a problem with the processing, the lid just pops off instead of the glass shattering. So that's just canning safety. So yeah, now we have a bunch of pickled daikon.